Hello guys and welcome to the Survivor Cook Islands official rankings, and I'm very excited to talk about all of this. Now, before we get started, remember iconic is reserved for my favourite and then it filters down from there. We're going to be ranking them based on how much I enjoyed their presence on the show, because unlike the traitors, how well they played is usually where they placed, unfortunately, and sometimes they get done over, but it's more exciting to talk about their personalities and how much I enjoyed watching them on the show than it is to talk about their gameplay, because some people would be down the bottom, some people would be up the top, and it would be a very big gulf in between. So anyway, we're gonna start with Sekou. Listen, one episode in and I loved this man. I was on board with this man. I was here for this man to stay for the duration, and he was gone too soon. I don't feel like he's in the gone but forgotten, because I've thought about him all series. I've enjoyed what I've seen of him, and I think he was just genuinely such a nice, gentle guy, and he did not deserve to go out on that first challenge. I'm sorry, it breaks my heart. But equally, I can't see anybody else from that tribe going home first, especially because some of them became such key players later on in the line. So, Sekou, I loved you, bro, but tough. And honestly, same with Billy. I think Billy's up there as well. Billy was such an icon when it came to entertainment. His funny confessionals were pure brilliance. The fact that he thought that Candice was in love with him. Guys, it doesn't get much better than this. It really doesn't. And I think that Billy just exemplifies the kind of fun that I want from Survivor at times. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I want backstabbing. Sometimes I want brutality. Sometimes I want betrayal. But other times I want funny people who just do funny things. And sitting at tribal council going, yeah, I am in love with Candice and she's in love with me, made me piss myself laughing, because it was the most ludicrous thing I think I've ever heard in my whole life. So honestly, well done, Billy. I loved you to pieces. I thought you were so much fun. You're great. Now we've got, is it Cecilia or Celia or something like that? I think she's a gone but forgotten. Like, I actually could not tell you a single thing about this woman, like, at all. And I think it's because she was ejected or evicted or snuffed off the island very soon after Billy, and because the focus on that tribe was very much on Billy and on Aussie as well, I think that it makes more sense that some of these other people on the tribe just didn't really get a chance to shine, sadly. So unfortunately, you're going down the bottom, you're in gone but forgotten, and yeah, like I said, I just don't remember anything about you, and you were in 3 episodes. Maybe even 4. I can't remember which order you and JP went out in, but I'm fairly certain you were gone quite quickly. You were gone very quickly indeed. So really, it's just your own fault at the end of the day, innit? It's just your own fault. Anyway, JP is up next, and I did not vibe with this man. I found him incredibly obnoxious. I found him to be quite lazy. And the fact that he was sitting there acting like some kind of king, being like, yeah, everyone wait on me hand and foot. Oh yeah, can you just sort out the rice, please? Yeah. I'm just sat here doing nothing, doing niche on my backside. Yeah, okay, JP. And don't get me wrong, I feel like he's a lovely guy, but the way that he came across on the TV show was a bit full of himself, a bit egotistical, and a bit like, oh yeah, I'm gonna win this game, obviously. And he was like out in the first couple of episodes. So really, not the vibe. Come on, you could do better than that. So up next we have Stephanie. I'm going to put Stephanie in mediocre, bless her. I just, again, didn't get a sense of I want to be here from her. And I think that's ultimately what led to her sort of being taken out of the game by people, because she just gave off apathetic vibes. I feel like she didn't really want to be here, but she was here and she was making the most of it. But she kept on making cheeky moments of like, oh, I fancy a curry tonight or something like that. She didn't actually say that, but it was words to those effects, basically like, oh, I'm already planning my dinner tonight. And Nate just kind of was like, well, if you don't want to be in the game, don't be in the game then, bye bye, I'm gonna get rid of you. And I think, unfortunately for Stephanie, she was just joking in those moments, or it was sort of like, oh yeah, I do really want a meal, but obviously I want to be here. But she was hoping that people understood that that was what she was saying, and it got misconstrued. So unfortunately, Stephanie, I just don't think you were amazing for me, in my opinion. I don't think you were the best, but equally, you were entertaining for the moments that you did have. And I did enjoy watching everybody scramble and then ultimately not vote you off, and then ultimately dude vote you off. And yeah. Oh yeah, you're just kind of a mediocre, I can't lie. Next person up is Cowboy. Cowboy's going in Survivor Goat. Bro is an icon. Like, genuinely one of the standouts from this series. In the first episode, I was a bit like, who is this Cowboy? I also didn't realise that his name was literally Cowboy because of the way it was spelt. I was sort of like, oh, okay, cool. They're just calling him Cowboy because it's a nickname or something like that. No, that's his actual name. No, that is actually his name. And I was like, okay, sick, cool. He was incredibly irritating to his fellow campmates, but I actually found him really endearing and I really liked him and I wanted him to stay a lot longer than he actually did. Plan Voodoo was genuinely one of the most ingenious things I think anybody has ever come up with, and kind of lays the foundation for what will be happening in future series of Survivor with idols. Like, he was a trendsetter and he didn't even realize he was, and the fact that he got kicked out so early, I think kind of cements his legacy as probably one of the people that we want to see back on Survivor more than anybody else. I mean, he's up there with Shane from last series and maybe Judd from season 11, but like that's about it for me. I can't think of any other people that I'm like, oh my god, I really need you to come back to the show. Oh, I would love Scout to come back, but I think she's too old, bless her. Yeah, she's far too old. I just want to get her on, like, I don't know, but get her in Big Brother. She'd thrive in Big... Oh no, she probably won't thrive in Big Brother, actually. Get her on, like, just get her on a show, a cutesy little... Get her on The Traitors. Oh my god, she'd love The Traitors. She'd absolutely love that. Yeah, I can see Scout in The Traitors Castle. Anyway, moving on to Christina. Again, I liked Christina. I did. I didn't understand why everybody disliked Christina, and I really couldn't understand that. Were there moments where she was a little bit too authoritative? Yes, I would say so. But equally, someone's got to take charge, and if you don't want to take charge, then somebody else is going to. So if you don't want her in charge, you take charge. Do you know what I mean? It's not that difficult to understand. I think, unfortunately, she was a victim of the double vote out, and I mean, it wouldn't have made a difference, actually. I think Cowboy was the true victim there because his team won that day and he still got voted out. So, tough one for Christina. I personally, like I said, did like her, but yeah, just a shame she went out so early, I guess. But anyway, up next we have Flicker. I'm putting her at the bottom of Snuff immediately. I found her so irritating and so annoying, and if it wasn't for the fact that she was with Cowboy for like the first third of the game, well, not even the first third, because it was the first 2 episodes she wasn't with him, but when they merged and she was with Cowboy, I think she became a little bit more tolerable. But she just was manipulated far too easily by people, and that's what ultimately led to her demise. And I feel really disappointed that she kind of came in with this energy of, yeah, I'm this kind of alt girl. It was giving what's her face from Palau, and I just didn't really get on the same vibe as her. So yeah, unfortunately not my cup of tea. And I think, yeah, Flicker just didn't really excite me as a person. And when she was gone, I was like, okay, thank God, because she was annoying me. When she let them chickens go on the first day, I thought, me and you are going to have a very, very tough series, Flicker. But anyway, please remember that I am only talking about their on-screen personas, how they're presented on the show. I do not know these people. I do not know their stories. So therefore, I'm only commenting on what I see on this TV show. Okay, let's just put that out there. Okay, thank you. Next up, we have Brad. Brad had the best sort of introduction to me, and then the biggest fall off of the series for me. I don't remember a single moment of Brad other than in the first episode when he was like, Cowboy's kind of annoying, but like, my headache is gone. And I was like, wow, that's incredible. And I had such a great first impression of him. I really liked him. I thought he was witty. I thought he was kind of entertaining. And then he just did nothing. And he just rolled over and took his execution. everybody voted him out. And I was like, why were you not trying to play the game a little bit more? Why were you just willing to let it happen? It frustrated me, like, to like the ends of the earth. And then the straw that broke the camel's back was when he was like, nah, I want to do the puzzle. I didn't want to get in the water. And poor Rebecca had to go out in the water, and that's what lost them the challenge, because he wanted to play Puzzle Master. Yeah, mate, you could go home. You can actually leave the show. Vacate the premises, please. Now. Yeah, that was an incredibly frustrating moment. Then we've got Rebecca. Again, I don't remember a single thing about Rebecca on this show, apart from the fact that she sucked at swimming and that she took ages in that one challenge. And Aussie had been like 3 times by the time she made it back once. So I just feel like there was a really wonky edit on people. And as we get into the final 9, I feel like we're going to start filling up the top and the bottom a lot more. But yeah, wow. Rebecca just kind of just annoyed me in terms of the fact that, again, she didn't try and make any moves when the numbers were in her hand. There was an 8-person alliance, and she didn't even try and deadlock the vote. She didn't even try and force everyone to go to rocks, because she just rolled over and took the fact that, okay, if we get rid of Brad, then that means that me and Jenny are the next 2 to go. And she just let that happen, and that really frustrated me. So yeah, you can stay in mediocre. Sorry, I like you, but like now. And same with Jenny. Jenny, I feel like I expected better from her. I really did. I wish that she would have fought to stay in that double tribal vote, but there's not much you can do with some people, do you know what I mean? Some people just like to lie down and take it, and it's a real shame, because it kind of put everybody else in a very difficult position, because everybody was like, oh, I didn't really want to have to vote you out, but like, I've got to vote you out. And it's like, well, why didn't you vote out Jonathan? Why? That was the smart move here. But anyway, it is what it is. Moving on, we have Nate. Okay, I'm going to put Nate at the top of my alliance. I really, really liked Nate. I think Nate was definitely my favourite of his initial tribe. He definitely had moments where I was like, yeah, this guy knows what's going on. The whole Parvati and Nate thing was kind of frustrating at times, but I liked Nate enough to sort of look past the fact that there was some kind of budding romance going on, because I cannot, like, confess enough how much I do not care about a budding romance on this kind of show. But either way, yeah, Nate just kind of exemplified how, like, to be good in challenges and things like that. I feel like, unfortunately, he was the victim of the post-merge vote. And that did upset me a little bit, because I was like, I really wish that they'd have tried to convince Nate to come over rather than Jonathan, just because I wanted Nate to make it a lot further. And especially considering he was in a group with 4 other white guys, or white people, I was like, oh, I'm sure he's going to jump over to the other group. But yeah, he didn't. And I think that was probably his demise. And that's probably why he went home. So, sorry, Nate, but that is it for you. Next up, we have Candice. Where am I going to put Candice? Oh my god. First half Candice, I would put up in Survivor Go. I thought she was brilliant. I'm putting her down in stuff immediately. I found this woman so frustrating. There were so many moments in the game where she tried to make something work for her, and it ended up backfiring spectacularly. She was sent to Exile Island 4 times. 4 times, okay? The only person who was sent there more or equal to her, I think, was Jonathan. I think was sent 4 times. So if you think about it, that means that she was pretty disliked, okay? I'm sorry, but Candice, the only reason why they sent you is because you're disliked. They're not sending you because you're a threat. They sent Jonathan because he was also, like, disliked. Adam was sent because he was a threat. Yule because he was a threat. I think Jonathan at first because he was a threat, but then it became more of a, we just don't want you in the camp. Whereas with Candice, I just feel like it was constantly to stop her fraternizing with Adam. It was like, oh, can we just have one day without you guys canoodling underneath the covers? Do you know what I mean? Please, for the love of God, this ain't Love Island. And, yeah. I think in the first half, I was so impressed by her performance in challenges. The wrestling one, the one where they had to, like, drag them from one end to the other, genuinely shocked me. I was like, wow, Candice has outdone herself here. And she did outdo herself in some of the challenges. But then she made so many poor moves that just wound me up. And then she would be like blaming other people for her own poor decisions. She decided to mutiny, Jonathan decided to follow, and then he decided to mutiny back, and she was blaming him for that, when like he was on that team to begin with and he only did it to follow you, and you're the cause of this whole situation. It just wound me up. So unfortunately, Candice, I did not enjoy you on this show. You were not one of my favourites. Jonathan, however, Survivor Goat. Okay, again, did I like Jonathan? No. But did I respect the hell out of his gameplay? Absolutely. And it made me like him and dislike him at the same time. Like, I liked to dislike him. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those weird ones where, because you're the villain, I'm going to give you more props at the end of the day. I'm going to give you more props because, again, was he even the villain? Because he said in the reunion show, am I the villain? There's no villains in a game. I'm antagonistic. And I was like, yeah, you are. And I think that's what made you so exciting to watch, because you gave the perfect hero edit to Aussie and Yule, even when they were manipulating you and you were trying to manipulate them back and it wasn't working. It was just such a fantastic edit that he had that tricked me into believing he was going to be Final 3. Genuinely, I thought he was a lock for Final 3, and then he was cut at 7th, and I was like, oh, we're not playing around here. We're not playing around this series. Okay. I really enjoyed him. I thought he was really good, and I had a great time watching him, I have to say. Next up, Parvati. Hey, come for me in the comment section all you want. I've not seen her other series. We're talking purely about Cook Islands here. Purely about Cook Islands, okay? And I know I'm going to get 100 million comments of people skipping to the end to see the full rankings and being like, oh, why is Parvati mediocre? Parvati's one of my favourite survivors. And I'm going to be like, you clearly did not watch the video. This happens so much on my ranking videos where they clearly didn't listen to anything I said in the video, skipped to the end, looked at the rankings, and made their opinions based on what they think I said rather than what I actually said. She is here because I was not entertained and I did not like her that much on this series. And I think that's because she just got a bad edit sometimes. There were so many moments that wound me up, like when she cut herself and I was like, are you being serious? Are you being serious, Parvati? The whole, like, again, I don't know how much of it was real with Nate and how much of it was gameplay, but again, I just don't know. Do you know what I mean? I think it was gameplay with Aussie and I think it was gameplay with Adam. But with Nate, I was a bit like, oh, what are we doing here? Do you actually like him? Do we actually not? Like, commit to a stance and be honest with the audience. If you are playing this up to people and you are flirting with people, be honest. Be that person who is saying, yeah, I'm flirting with them to get ahead. And I'd be like, yeah, I'd respect that. So, yeah, she wasn't great in challenges either, which was another thing. So yeah, I just didn't enjoy watching her on this series. But I know that I will enjoy watching her in the future because I like Parvati now. Like, her on Traitors, I really enjoyed watching her. But on this series, I just didn't get that vibe from her. And maybe she needs to come back for a second time. She's watched herself on TV and now she knows, okay, this is about the game now. I don't need to worry about presenting myself well on TV. People already know who I am. Let's just play the game and let's win the game. And I think that is what Parvati needs to do when she comes back. Anyway, up next we have Adam. I'm putting him down in stuff immediately as well. This guy was so frustrating. This guy actually pissed me off so much. So much. I don't think he made a single good game move this entire series. I cannot think of an entire moment where I was like, yeah, you're playing the game, sir. Until he was voted out. And literally until his final episode. Until the final moment. That's when he started playing the game. And I was like, was that just because you were thinking of your dick the entire time? Was that just because there were women in the game that were showing you attention and you were just like, hey, I'm in a beautiful location with beautiful women. Let me just enjoy it. No, play the game. $1 million are online. Honestly, you frustrated me to no end. Oh, and this is where we get to the difficult part. Okay, Sandra, I liked. I did like Sandra. I really, really did like Sandra. I got such warm vibes off of her. And for everyone in the comment section that's like, oh, Becky and Sandra haven't done anything, I think that's what the edit wanted you to see because they didn't make it very far in the game. Or, no, as in, not they didn't make it very far in the game, but they weren't in contention for the win. It was Aussie and it was Yule. So all of the decisions that were made by the I24 were presented as Yule's ideas. And that's what kind of left Sandra and Becky out of the edit a little bit. Because I do believe that they were a lot more instrumental. in the decision making. And you even said at the what's it called, the reunion show, that it was a group decision most of the time, so therefore everything that was presented as my idea was actually our idea. And I was like, okay, that's good to know, to be fair. So with Sandra, I liked her, I thought she was lovely, but equally I feel like we needed more from her. Do you know what I mean? Her performance in that last endurance challenge was sensational. I was genuinely so upset when she dropped, but hey, Sandra did a fantastic job here, and you gotta hand it to her. I will say, fire making challenge, brutal and disappointing, but hey, that's how the cookie crumbles at the end of the day. Next up, we have Becky. I think I would put Becky, how much I liked Becky, like here, I would say. I think I would maybe put Billy above Christina as well. I would probably put Becky there, which is crazy considering she made it all the way to the end and I liked the guy who went out first more than her. But I just never warmed to Becky. I always felt like she was, I don't know, I just never warmed to her. There wasn't a part of me that made me want to root for her to win, and maybe that was the edit, I don't know. But I think her and Sandra had very, very similar edits, but Sandra came off as very warm, whereas Becky came off as very cold, and I just didn't warm to Becky the way I did with Sandra. And I don't know whether that was like their confessionals were just slightly different or whatever, but yeah, just something was stopping me from connecting with Becky, and that's what made me go, oh, she's not winning this series. So therefore, we have our final two. I'm going to put Aussie and Iconic, and I'm going to put Yule at the top of Survivor Goat. I think Aussie exemplified what it is to be an all-round good player at Survivor, and I think that is what was impressive, because you get people who fluke their way into immunity wins. You get people who are just naturally good because all of them are either endurance or they're strength based, like I feel Terry was last year. Whereas this, there were so many different parts of this. There was a balance beam one, there was a cling onto a pole, there was a stand on a pole, there was dive into the ocean, do some swimming, and then solve a puzzle with a hook. There was so many different variations on the format of immunity challenge, and he mastered all of them apart from the one that involved maths. So we'll let him have a bye on that one, but they don't normally put maths into Survivor, so there is that. So I feel like he just did a fantastic job, in my opinion. I feel like he really, really did an excellent job, and I was very, very impressed with him. So I got to give him credit where credit's due. And then with Yule, social strategy and the way he maneuvered his way through the game at every single opportunity was perfection. And I found both of these guys very, very endearing to watch on the show. It's very, very rare that I find myself rooting for men to win these kind of shows, because I'm always like, oh, sometimes I feel like the men have advantages in these kind of games because of their natural strength and things like that. And so I want to root for the women to do well, because I feel like they are so much more entertaining when it comes to actually maneuvering their way through the game. But these two just had me in a chokehold from like episode 2 or 3. I was a bit like, these two are very interesting individuals, and I find them very exciting to watch. Even when they seem to be on the outs, they somehow manage to drag their way back in. And again, the show presents a lot of that as Yule's idea, but I think it was more a collective idea of everybody. And Yule obviously is fantastic as a winner because he did deserve it. He played the game perfectly. The idol play was amazing. So he just deserves it. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Do all of that YouTube stuff that you guys do so unbelievably well. And I will see you guys in the next episode, whenever that may be. But until then, make sure to like, make sure to comment. I've already done that. Make sure to subscribe. We're on our way to 8,000. And I'll see you guys later. Bye now. Keep on ranting. See ya.